Welcome back to The Grind, and this time we are going to break down each of the quests, but because we are limited in the entries, I cannot actually test every single quest right away, but I will start to do different ones to give a bit of a guide on those and see how they go. I did put out a video on Symbiomancy Hive, and now we're just going to go one by one and preview the fights and nodes and just give my thoughts and tips for the quest. But again, unfortunately, I cannot test them all because there's just not enough keys for me to do that yet. So this is the first quest here, Clintar Rage Hive, and the first fight is Hood with Tenacity, so that's not too bad. You just will have buffs being shrugged off. And then we have another Tenacity with Howard the Duck, again not that bad of a fight. And then if you're bringing Tenacity counters, that's great because you have a boss at the end that also just in his kit shrugs off debuffs. And then the nodes that he has are all abilities trigger more frequently, aggression prowess, so every couple seconds then he'll be gaining prowesses, and when you hit him he'll remove them. Extinction Protocol, so the inevitable Extinction Protocol grants the defender up to 200% attack based on how full the attacker's power bar is. Each time the defender activates a special attack, their combat power rate increases for the remainder of the fight. So as the fight goes on, they're going to be gaining power faster, and also the higher your power bar is, the higher attack power he's going to have, so you'll want to throw your specials. Also, ebb and flow knockdown, so you're going to want to knock him down intermittently when it goes up so that you can deal regular damage. Hit Me, I Dare You, when struck he gets charges. At 10 they're removed and you get an armor up buff, and then armored assault, so he'll go unblockable whenever he gets that armor up. So you'll want to be able to remove those armor ups if you have a champion that can do that, and be able to knock him down. So if you brought White Magneto, you could use pre-fights, and if you have him ranked up, he can get through some fights, so maybe he can help with the first few fights. But you want to ideally have a champion. Either you want to pick somebody who cannot have their buffs shrugged off, like for example Storm Pyramid X or Apocalypse, but then with those champions you're going to have to be careful about the chitin charges and the armored assault. So you're either going to have to deal with the opponent being unblockable for a majority of the fight, or have the opponent, are just gonna have to deal with not being able to parry consistently. Now, I think the worst in this case is having to deal with an unblockable, because if he throws a special one, you're going to have to take it to the face. So you might want to rely more on champions that can remove those armor up buffs. Though armor break champions might be your best bet there. Like maybe Medusa can frequently and easily armor break, even though they won't stick because they'll shrug them off. At least you can remove the armor up, and that will allow you to not have to deal with an unblockable opponent. So now let's go and take a look at the next quest. I heard that this boss is very annoying, the Venom Boss. Someone said that they threw both their champions at the boss and didn't do any damage. So let's take a look here. We've got some pretty straightforward fights to begin with. Feats of Power and Rich Get Richer. So you'll want an opponent who can strip buffs and control power. And same for this one too. So power control champions, nullified champions, most mystics will do great for those two fights. And then the last one here, again, Rich Get Richer. He has tons of extra health, feats of power, combat deja vu prowess. So when the attacker lands the same type of basic attack twice in a row, the defender gains a prowess, increasing special attack damage. So if you land the same basic attack twice in a row, he'll get prowesses, which will be nice to feed Mystic Dispersion if you have that active. And then buffed up. This is where it's annoying. If you did not preview, then you're going to struggle with this, because the defender takes 100% less damage while the attacker has less than 3 buffs applied to them. And so you need to have a champion that gains buffs, or you can bring in a Mystic champion plus Odin and apply the pre-fights to that champion so that you automatically have 3 buffs on you. That would allow you to bypass this, but this is why players are not dealing any damage, because you need to have 3 buffs on yourself in order to deal any damage to this opponent. So probably the best combo, if you have them, would be Dr. Doom and Odin. Dr. Doom can very easily control power and buffs, and so you can strip the buffs down, control the power, and if you have Odin on the team and you put the pre-fights on for Dr. Doom, then you will have 3 buffs on you and allow you to deal damage during this fight. I missed a couple more buffs down here. Flare. The opponent gains 300% attack, but takes 100% health of their max damage over 60 seconds. So you have to act fast. You'll have really high attack, but you'll be losing health and die within 60 seconds unless you have a way to heal. So you want a champion that can deal a lot of damage right out the gate and also starts with 3 buffs, or you have synergies that allow you to gain buffs quickly. So that's that one there. Now we're going to go on and take a look at the next one. And the next one is going to be Symbiotic Enhancement Hive. This is with the Cosmic Symbiote Spider-Man at the end there. Again, these fights do not look too bad as far as the champions, unless, you know, Wolverine has some high regen. The node here is Bubble Shield, so the more blocks you take, the lower your block proficiency gets, and after 10 blocks, you'll end up having the next attack from the opponent being unblockable, so you want to watch out for that, but not too difficult. The boss here, he has increased attack, increased crit rate, power focus, so he'll gain power fast to 1 bar, and then it will slow down dramatically after 1 bar. So you'll be able to hit into him a ton, but he'll get lots of special ones, which is annoying because then he'll throw the special ones and then he'll be evading. But on top of that, he also has Mixmaster and Dizzy. So each time the defender evades, then you'll get a disorient on you, which will make it even more annoying. So you want a hard evade counter for this. You do not want him evading, and he's going to be evading a ton, especially because he's throwing lots of special ones. And then while they're down, each time the attacker is inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, which would happen from Dizzy, every time you evade, you're going to get one. The defender is going to get a massive Fury buff, so you don't want that to happen either. And then also has Bubble Shield, so you don't want to take many blocked hits, which you might be taking blocked hits if you can't evade the special one. So ideally, you want a champion that can really control evades very effectively. There are a lot of good evade counters these days. Make sure you bring in one that you enjoy, that you are good playing with, and watch out for the increased attack from the non-damaging debuffs if they do happen to evade on you. They're going to be throwing a lot of special ones, and you're also going to have to watch out for Bubble Shield, the unblockable attacks that are going to come through. All right, and that'll be it for this one. And then we're going to go on to the next one and talk about that, and that is going to be Don't Stop Evolving Hive with the Venom Boss. I also heard that this one was a tough boss to fight. Once again, the first 2 champions on here are very simple to fight, but they have Resistor and Return Policy. So Resistor, when you hit them, they're going to gain resistances, and then Return Policy, whenever any of the defender's buffs are nullified, they gain 40% of bar power. Dang, that's crazy. So you don't want to nullify the defender's buffs unless you have very potent power control. Otherwise, they're going to be gaining tons and tons of power, and that'll be nuts to control. So you probably don't want to nullify those champions. And then Venom Pool has Resistor as well. I don't think they have, no, they don't have that other node. So you can remove the buffs on this champion. Steady Perseverance. Whenever the defender activates a special, they get stun immunity after that. Mystic Conditioning. Whenever the attacker attempts to nullify or remove a buff, the effect is reduced by 15%. So the chance for all future nullifies is reduced. So you won't be able to nullify as frequently as you would like to. Polka Dot Power, the attacker gains no power from landing hits, but gains power when a damage over time buff or debuff is applied. And then Buffet, whenever you gain a buff, it'll heal him with a 7-second cooldown. So champions that either have True Strike or True Accuracy that can ignore resistances will be good here. Champions that have damage over time will be good, like, you know, Nick Fury, like Archangel would be a great one here, and that'll get you power. Archangel probably is one of the better counters for this one because you don't have to worry about the resistances quite as much. You will have to deal with the stun immunity for a little bit after he throws special attacks, but that's probably the ones that I would recommend, some strong damage over time. And if you want a champion that can nullify against the Venom Pool, that should work, but don't use a nullified champion against the first 2 fights unless you have potent power control. All right, this next one here with Red Goblin as the boss, let's see, we have Blood in the Water. While the attacker is suffering from a debuff, the defender gains a passive Fury, so they'll be hitting harder while they have debuffs on them, and then long distance relationship while you have a debuff on you. Sorry. So when you have a debuff on you, the opponent's going to get attack boost, and you're going to have debuffs on you anytime you're close to the opponent. You'll get weaknesses stacked on you. So you'll have to be careful about that. Same for this one. Not too terrible fights, but you know, they're not maybe the easiest counters. We have the auto block on Thor Ragnarok. And then the last fight here against Red Goblin, power efficiency. So he'll be throwing lots of special attacks because they'll be consuming less power. And then enhanced special 1, we have the projectiles with the fight, such as arrows and rocks, are not unblockable, but the other hits, the first hit of the other types of hits, will be unblockable, so you'll have to watch out for that. Just bait out the special 1 probably is the best plan there. And then special burst lock. Whenever the defender activates a special attack, the attacker is inflicted with both a heal block and an armor break debuff, lasting 15 seconds. So that's something just to keep in mind, but not too difficult to get around. Blood in the water, didn't we already have that? Or that's just one of the other nodes. So same thing, he'll get an attack boost whenever you have debuffs on you. Insult to injury, each debuff on the attacker reduces defensive ability accuracy, so that's unfortunate. And then masochism, every 7 seconds, the next debuff triggered on the champion is removed, and then they'll regenerate. So when you apply debuffs, there's every 7 seconds, it can be shrugged off and heal him. Not too crazy of a boss. You'll maybe want someone with power control so you can control his specials a little bit more, especially since the first one's unblockable. But other than that, just watch out for masochism. You don't want to go to parry and then realize that he shrugs it off and hits you in the face. And then the last one, I won't talk about too much because I did put out a video already with me using Dr. Doom and Magic on this one. And I used Dr. Doom for the first 2 fights. You can use anyone for them because they have Energize, and it's not that high of Energize, so it's enough to easily push them over a bar of power with a single combo, but not so much that you have to be super careful about attacking. So you can easily bait out special 1s against both of these champions and just continue to attack and punish after that. And then this fight, you want to be careful because he has improved power gain and prey on the weak, so he'll be getting tons of power. So I recommend a strong power control champion. I used Magic and Dr. Doom. I started with Magic and it was going well, but then I messed up an intercept and I died, so I finished it off with Dr. Doom without too much difficulty, and you can find that on my channel and look at how I did that. One other thing to take note of is Rage. So eventually he can go unblockable if you're dealing very high amounts of damage with your hits. So I really do hope that this video was helpful. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I do hope to see you in the next video.